I want to talk about the ever-seeing eye tonight. Anybody heard of it? I remember my first time hearing that phrase used. It was Dr. Ben that had that was using that phrase, and I just remember him talking about the ever-seeing eye of Horus. So I've been dwelling with this today. So here, and there's two eyes, like on everybody, and so the left eye is the eye of Horus or Hor or Heru, and the right eye is the eye of Ra. So one is livicated to the moon, related to the moon. The other is related to the sun. And then on this picture here, this is found on one of the enclosures of King Tut's tomb. And this is a close-up of it. We see this symbol is like for infinity, and this is very similar to your backbone, and that's that serpentine fire, earth, wind, and fire told us about. And here
Baba, are you talking about the one on the right or the one on the left? I don't see your little light.
Okay.
If you're pointing to one.
Okay, I'm talking about the one on the right now.
Okay, thanks.
Glad to clear that. So here we see the serpent, and it's casting the light into this person's third eye region. And then these other ones have stars. And if we go to the next slide, here's a closer up picture of that eye, and then the star going into the eye. So this has kind of captivated my imagination lately. Yes, go ahead.
The serpentine. When I heard that song, I always assumed that was a reference to stone, because I've heard of serpentine stone, but you're saying that serpentine is a word that's a derivative of serpent. Could you expound on that?
So since we use that example, the earth, wind, and fire, so it's if you listen to the lyrics, it's saying, tell the story, morning glory, all about the serpentine fire. Surely as life begun, you will as one battle with the serpentine fire. And so it's talking about that vital force at the base of your spine, that through certain meditational and breathing practices and visualization practices, you can cause that that vital energy, that vital force to rise up your spine and cross over into your third eye, into your pineal gland. So I first heard this from Dr. Asa Hilliard, and he starts talking about Saba. So there are a few people I call Saba, like I call Ray Davis Saba, and there's a Saba, a teacher, the tour guide that I had in Kemet a few years ago. His name is Fami, and every time I ride him, I call him Saba. He knows so much. He's not only a tour guide, but he's a person that has a master's in Egyptology. He's studying for his PhD. He may already have it by now. And he goes to all the sites. And I asked him about meditation. And he told me, he said, I know 80 different forms of meditation. So if there's something that I'm trying to wrestle with, to understand, to be able to explain, I'll write him and I'll use the word Seba. But Dr. Asa Hilliard told us that Seba means star, and you know, it also means teacher, but it also means doorway. And so in this first slide on the left here, it says star power energy shown entering through the forehead of the pupil of the mummified Osiris, archetype of all humans. The word star also means doorway with the derivative for walking. It meant passing through a star door or time door. The winged soul shown underneath the glyph in the figure indicates that it was the soul's passage through these doors that affected the Osirian transformation of the metamorphosis into the immortal state and its glorified body. So I just added these are other pictures that I've found. There was a magazine called Egyptology.com, and I saved this picture, and I saw this picture, and here we see these people that are meditating out there in the cosmos, and they seem to be connected to the infinite. So I just want to include that. And when we talk about the eye of Hor, or Heru, or Horus, Horus is a Latinized version of it. It's divided up into fractions. So each part has a fraction. So this portion represents smell, this portion represents sight, this portion represents thought, this represents the hearing, this is the taste, and this is the touch. And if you are familiar with the story of the battle between Hor, or Heru, and his uncle Set, in that battle, Set tore out the eye of Hor and smashed it. And then Jehudi came and put the eye together. And when he put it together, it added up to 63/64. And then he added that spiritual essence, that 1/64, to make it a whole fraction, or a whole number, or a whole eye. He returned the sight to him. And so that's the general story related to that. And as I was saying, the right eye is related to the sun, the left eye related to the moon. And also when you think about the moon, you know, the phases of the moon, so at one point the moon is full, and then, you know, it's a half moon, it's, you know, and it's divided up in parts. And so that's one of the reasons why that left eye is related to the moon. But also, with respect to the eye of Heru, it's associated with the pineal gland. And you know, throughout history and just different locations, we find different deities holding that pine cone. So here, the Assyrian, Babylonian, they're holding a pine cone. And here, this is Kemetic, you know, with the caduceus symbol, and at the top is a pine cone, and here it is again. But the Catholics seem to know something about this too, because this pine cone at the Vatican, it's huge. and it's right in the center of the Vatican. And it's also on the Pope's staff. And so that pineal gland looks like a pine cone, and it's the size of a gemstone. It's known as the throne of God. And then around the throne of God, the pineal gland, are 24 cranial nerves. And you can find all of this relating in the book of Revelations. And your spine is 33 vertebrae. And there's 33 masons, 33 degrees in Mason, etc. So these are just little symbols that have been put out through history. And here it is again. This pine cone is also a representation of the Fibonacci patterns. Okay, I think I'm probably losing you. Let me stop. What? Everybody still there?
Yeah, but I've never heard that word Fibonacci.
Is that right? Fibonacci was a mathematician, and if you look him up, he was a great mathematician in history. And I'm trying to remember the time period that he is there, but there's a thing called the Fibonacci code, and you can look that up. Any other comments or questions? All right, I'm just going to keep going. I don't know.
It's all very interesting, Emo.
I don't know if I'm losing you or what. Okay.
Very interesting.
I'm taking notes.
So another thing related to this, Horus. Now, it's really Hor, H-O-R. But I think because, okay, in the language that we speak, when you say Hor, it has a different connotation. And Horus is the Latinized version of it. And for me, when you say Heru, when you put that U on it, that kind of has a plural meaning to it. So, and sometimes when people refer to the Sphinx, they say Hor Im Akhet, so, I hope I don't confuse you by using Hor, but for me, I think the way that it was used was Hor. But anyway, it relates to the brain here, just the way that they wrote that bird is, we can find it in our brainstem. And here on this side, on the right, so we see the eye of Hor, and then right in the center of our brain, pituitary gland, there it is. All right, we kind of covered this the last time we met when we were talking about the pineal gland, the pituitary gland. So in the Bible, on one note, is Joseph is the pineal gland, and Mary is the pituitary gland. And these glands secrete substances. So the pineal gland secretes the milk. Mary secretes the honey. We want to go to the land of milk and honey. It's already in us. And, the claustrum is, when they say Santa Claus, so that the claustrum secretes those fluids, and it goes down the chimney or the spinal column, goes to the sacred plexus, and then travels back up and is crucified. You know, where Jesus was crucified is called Golgotha, and that means place of the skull. And then that Christ fluid, that fluid is multiplied 1,000-fold. And these are different symbols that I used for that. And I was talking to Katabasi a little bit later, because in South Africa, so in India, it's called Kundalini. But there was a Zulu shaman, his name was Credo Mutwa. And he was talking about his grandfather explaining the whole concept of Umbalini. It says Umbalini is a primal force used by Zulu shaman to connect their minds with the deities in the spirit realm, described as something like a hot coiled snake bursting through the top of your head. It is a state achieved through sitting still, deep breathing, elimination of thoughts, and drawing upon the powers of the soul. And so then he's talking about that. He's saying, my grandfather taught me how to control my powers of seeing and how to sharpen them and to make them more accurate and efficient. He taught me the art of breathing properly. He taught me the secret of joining my mind to that of the great gods in the unseen world. He taught me how to sit still, very, very still, and eliminate all thoughts from my mind and call upon the hidden powers of my soul. In short, my grandfather taught me the Zulu version of what is called in English meditation, how to breathe softly and gently like a whisper until you feel something like a hot coiled snake bursting through the top of your head, a fearsome thing that is known as Umbalini. This Umbalini, my grandfather told me, is the source, the primal source of the Sangoma's power. A Sangoma must be able to summon this Umbalini at will through the beating of the drum, through meditation, very, very deep meditation. So again, here we're connecting the spinal cord and the pineal gland. Now this is Asian. There's a man, his name is Mantak Chia. And so in the Chinese philosophy, they call this area the Crystal Palace. And I don't have the picture for it, but if you magnify the pineal gland, it's covered with crystals. And so this is the place where we want to get to. This is the place where we want to reflect on. This is the place where we want to meditate on. So I'm giving this example, this sister, she's reaching out. And I guess that's it. Yep, that's all I have. Okay. So, it's 6:38.
That's amazing that all the different cultures seem to have their own, they all seem to go to the same place because they know it does something.
Yes, yes. So something is happening. I mean, we're all around the same age, give or take a few years. Had anybody ever thought about that Earth, Wind, and Fire song? You know, Serpentine Fire? Is it going to make you look at it differently?
Well, I looked at it different once I got into church and start looking at Egyptian mystery system, which they were well well versed on way back then.
Yes. Well, I just found the picture that I was looking for. It's going to come up pretty soon.
Yeah, I never knew all the words like that. But now it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. You know, I can't listen to anything without examining it. It's kind of boring, I guess. But let me just this picture that I was looking for, sisters and brothers, here. Everybody see that? Can you all see that?
Yes,
Yes.
it's clear. It's clear.
See, scientists have found the piezoelectric microcrystals inside the pineal gland, cosmic antenna to higher dimensions inside your head. Yeah.
Like a transmitter?
Yeah, that's what your pineal gland is, a transmitter. Yes, like a transmitter. Mhm. All right, so in the, when we're reading biblical scriptures, when they talk about if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. And it's telling us, but we're taking it in a literal sense, in a, I don't know, three-dimensional sense. There was another, I was trying to pull this together. I've been running all day. There's another picture I'd like to share, if I can find it really fast. And it talks about, let's see. You guys are really quiet. I don't know what that means. It means like we're never going to come back here again, Emma, because this is just too weird. All right.
My
we're just-
silence
we're-
means I'm
we're just-
amazed at all of this wonderful information.
We're just being quiet while you find what you're looking for. That's what we're doing.
All right.
Yes, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and that's the purpose for these classes. Okay, this is not necessarily for the masses. I don't know. I may or may not talk about this on a Sunday, but in a small group like that. And when we do have a retreat, I know that Pamela is working on a retreat, but I'd like to have a spiritual retreat where this is all we would do. We would focus on meditational symbols. We would focus on different postures. We would focus on breathing, and something that okay, Tony's for it. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you. So that we could get more in tune with ourselves. We used to. Makalisi wrote a song, like his first song was called "People Know Thyself," and that's out of the that's out of Stolen Legacy, because he talks about it being on the different symbols. I can't find the picture right now, and if I find it, I'll send it to you guys. Let's see. Let me take a picture of who's all here so I can remember who to send it to. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I'll just send it to you in a text. But people know thyself. It was our motto at WOSE at the very beginning. And the phrase is actually a Greek phrase. It's people know thyself. Know thyself and you will know the universe. And then as we began to study further, the phrase actually, I know what is in my heart. So it's connecting heart and mind. you know, your heart and your brain. Those two need to work together for an enlightenment to happen. All right, brother. Oh, you have the Egyptian yoga book, and I know that Minister Alicia likes that book too. By what's the brother's name?
Muwada Ash.
Mawada Ashby. Yes, Mawada
Yeah.
Ashby. Yeah, I actually happened to talk to him once on the phone because I had a book of his. I was in DC, and I bought a book by him, and it had the scriptures, and you know, it had different things like Ptahhotep and things that were in the Hosea. So I was in meditation. I came out of meditation, and I picked up his book. And I saw that he had his number in it, and I called him, and he picked up. I said, "Hey, you know, I'm really enjoying your book." This is like in the 90s. I'm really enjoying your book. I said, "But one thing I want to know, why don't you put the references to where these scriptures are?" Okay, because you know, if you read the Hosea a lot, you know where these different phrases are coming from, and so I think I kind of got on his bad side because he said, "Well, these are you know, these are common scriptures, and you know, like, you know, basically I didn't have to do that, and mind your own business." But you know, he has some great works in there. Egyptian yoga, you know, him and his wife, they've done a lot, and all of his books are really very good. So, Brother Damani, are you? Did you see something in that book that related to what we were talking about?
Well, he also called the eye of the Uraeus symbol.
Yes, yes,
Symbol
you're
that
right.
comes out, the third eye that comes out of the forehead.
Yes,
And
yes,
most Egyptian masks,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
It also represents what Heru in his battle with Set. He lost his I guess spiritual balance, and Dehudi put it back together. And so it represents consciousness, our spiritual consciousness, the third eye,
yes.
the eye of Heru, and so we win the battle. It's really a battle of it's really mythology, and the battle of darkness over light. You know, in the world today, we got the forces of darkness and the forces of light, and I guess we all got to have that inner battle and win the first subdue our own darkness within our own selves. And
Actually, dealing with the darkness reveals the light.
okay, yeah, it makes sense.
So, you know, when you're meditating, you're going to close your eyes. And then you're in darkness. And then there is a spot, just a few, like 2 hand width, like okay, first 2 hand widths away. If you were to look as you were closing your eyes, and you would have 2 hands. There is a dark spot. It's like the size of a marble that you can see. I mean, it doesn't always stay there. You know, it's there and then it goes away. But that is how you begin to access some of these dimensions, some of these places that we're talking about. And what does it say? The children that lived in the darkness have seen the great light. We heard that phrase. It's biblical. You know, the children that lived in the darkness have seen the great light. So anyway, yes, Sister Tony, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I see multiple colors sometimes. And I had asked Sister Saraswati to about that during the minute, but she may have forgotten. But is that normal? I mean, I see different, they're
Yes.
like circles, and it's, you know, some lavender, blue, just different. It's really beautiful, but I didn't know if that was normal.
No, that's something, yeah, that there's nothing abnormal about that. That's good. That's good. And you know, if you could focus on that, the more that you focus on that, the easier it will be. You know, if you can just do like 5 seconds, that's good. And if you could somehow increase that time to do that, it will be better for you. So there's a go ahead.
And then sometimes I get this feeling, it's really weird, but and I don't know how to explain it, but it feels like I'm melted into the universe, or I mean, my body feels like a giant or something. And it's kind of just, if you can just imagine like the world, but a big giant over it, I'm like, what in the world it's almost, I don't want to say it's floating because it's immersed. It's like, it's a really strange feeling. Is that normal too?
You know, these things are not normal in your normal waking state, but in your meditative state, it's very normal. And these are just signs and indications that you're on the right path, that you're on the right track.
Yeah, it's like because it's so new, she's not embracing it. And it's a kind of fear factor there. But if you just kind of relax into it, you're having some phenomenal experiences.
You're having things that people wish they could get.
They could have. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
Here's a
It feels
question.
really good. I mean, I'm not frightened of it. I just didn't know if because it feels, I mean, like when I'm there and it's like, wow, I feel like I'm just melting into everything, and it feels wonderful. I just didn't know if that's normal. That's what everybody feels.
No, you know what? People are not. Everybody's not going to feel necessarily the same thing that you do. I saw Mama Afua, you had a question.
Yes, I'm just wondering, as we speak of this, what happens to people who are blind and can't see, but they close their eyes and they can get colors or whatever? And people who are paralyzed, you know, but who may have some sensitivities and they may feel some energies from time to time. Is there any report on these groups of people?
You know, I don't know. That's a very good question. I will say this, and we've kind of touched on this before. We are only seeing a small portion of everything that can be seen. You see what I mean? So there's microwaves, there's ultraviolet rays, there's different, and we can't perceive them with our normal physical senses. But in our higher being, all of those things can be revealed, and that's part of what Sister Tony is talking about. So in certain states or in certain environments, certain conditions in her mind, in her meditation, she can actually see different things, and we should be able to see them as we're getting more into our higher states of consciousness. I know that sounds really psychobabble, but that's really what really is going on.
No,
I
I
hope
don't think it's psychopath. But
I hope-
I'm just wondering, even in some other cultures, whether there may be some connection with people who are blind and their visions, their inner visions.
Well,
My mother is blind, but she talks about seeing things all the time. And I think it's from her
Ah.
memory. She talks about different people and where she's going, and she's been blind for about 20 years now.
let me just put it this way. So, did you dream last night, Mama Fua?
Did I?
Or did you, or when you, let me put it like this: when you dream,
Mhm.
do you see things?
You know, I think most of the time I dream, I feel like I'm awake.
Okay, but
and
you see
I'm
things, right?
looking at something again,
Mhm. But you see,
or sensing something again. Thoughts come up.
but
Mhm.
you see things, right?
Yes.
How did you see it? And your eyes were closed.
Well, that's part of what we were talking about.
That's what I
Mhm.
mean. So,
Yes.
so this eye is activated
Mm-hmm.
more. Look at somebody like Stevie Wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Stevie Wonder. This is a movie. I remember I used to show this up here in Sacramento, and it's partly documentary, but it's also really a good movie. And this is Stevie Wonder participated in this movie. It was called Journey into the Secret Life of Plants. How many have seen that movie? Journey into the Secret Life of Plants. And so Stevie came out with this album, Journey into the Secret Life of Plants, and it was right after Fulfillness, his first finale, where he won like 7 or 8 Grammys, and people were like, "What is going on? What what is Stevie on?" But when you go see that movie, it's time-lapse photography on plants choreographed to Stevie Wonder's music.
Mm.
And then at the end, Stevie, he doesn't have his glasses on, and he's walking in this field, and he's singing Journey into the Secret Life of Plants. And then they show him, and he's rowing a boat. He's on like a pond, and he's rowing a boat. His glasses are off. And then when the movie ends, it's Stevie is in this field of sunflower plants. And when I saw that, I said, Stevie can see, so in a sense, Stevie can see. There's things in his mind. He even had a song called Inner Vision. And he's talking about, if you look up those lyrics, the inner visions of our minds.
Yes.
So I think in answer to your question, and I'm not sure if I'm answering it properly, but there is a vision that's beyond our normal, right and left eyes of physical, our physical eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The physical eyes. I like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, it's coming up on 6:58, and I guess we've talked enough weirdness enough. There's Minister Alicia put in oneness when Sister Tony was talking. He said you were getting closer to the oneness, and that's what we all want to do. We all want to get closer to the oneness. Without, there's DMT inside your head.
Mm-hmm.
People, you don't have to take ayahuasca or drop acid or anything like that. You have those chemicals already in your head. And that's what we're talking about. The pineal gland the Eversing Eye. And that's our study of sacred scriptures for this third Thursday in January. So perhaps
Okay.
you can let us know, privately, or a little later on, if there is a subject or a scripture or book that you'd like for us to look at during these sessions. Again, we meet on the first and third Thursday of the month, just from 6 to 7. We don't want it to be real long. And I'm glad that you all were able to make it. And I would like to get a few more people, but I don't want necessarily a bunch of people, because this is the kind of thing where people can feel comfortable answering questions, and it's not a lot of people, a lot of questions, etc. So, all right, thank
That's
you.
wonderful, and thank you. I thoroughly enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I'd like to say one thing.
Yes, sir.
Brother 19 Keys from Oakland, he did a YouTube video. It dealt with the third eye and higher consciousness. And he talked about the crystals, some of the same thing you talked about, the crystals and crystals in our heads and our brains and our bloods, and the importance of wearing crystals. Him and it was Blue Pill, Red Pill, one of them guys. Anyway, had over 1 million views. So the young people are really into esoteric wisdom.
Brother Damani, can you send that to me? Can you send that YouTube video to me?
Yeah, definitely will.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of his YouTube videos getting over close to 1 million hits,
Mhm.
million views. A lot of the young people think they're into esoteric wisdom. They're into the hidden knowledge. He talks about raising the vibration and meditation, same thing you're talking about. And I've gotten into meditation lately, trying to meditate 20 minutes a day, and but my thoughts are everywhere. But I'm gonna keep doing it. I know if you keep going, it gets better.
Mhm.
But I definitely send you that YouTube video of 19 Keys, and he's really tapped into some esoteric wisdom, the hidden wisdom of our ancestors. I think young people are really they're attracted to the to wisdom beyond the 5 senses. What you're talking about, wisdom beyond the 5 senses.
Yes.
And raising their vibrations. Because it seemed like one more quick thing. It seemed like the young people, you had these exceptional athletes, LeBron and the MVP and the Serena Williams, and these young people are trying to figure out, that these guys are beyond the physical. They're trying to get into their mental state. What caused these people to play and perform at such a high level is more than their physical state. It's their mental state.
Well, you know what? One of my favorite basketball players, this is going to be a disagreement, among sports fans, but my favorite basketball player is Dr. J. And I saw Dr. J when I was 14. It was the NBA All-Stars versus the ABA All-Stars. And I didn't know who Julius Erving was. I'd never seen him. You didn't get a lot of ABA on TV, and so they were playing, and it was a fast break. And Dr. J,
You saw him fly, huh?
well, he did this fast break, and Kareem and this other guy was there to guard him. And I saw Dr. J take off at the top of the key. And you know how long jumpers, it was like he just walked up and he had the ball in his hand, and Kareem was going to block it. But while he was in the air, he just took the ball around and then stuffed on Kareem. And I was like, who is that? And then I started reading a book, it was for my age group. And what they had Dr. J saying was that he would visualize in his mind what he would do, and then the next day he would go out and do that move. You know, and so I'm sure they all do that. You know, at some point, you know, when you think of, I'm talking about the really great, exceptional players, Pete Maravich, Magic Johnson, Stephen Curry, you know, now, Michael Jordan, etc. Anyway, it's 7:04. I'd like for us to close on this note. So I found the Serpentine Fire with the.
Why are you not investing in tax liens?
I
No,
don't.
seriously.
I don't.
Why are you not investing into one of the most
I hate those ads. All right.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak just my mind. Oh. You're chilling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Baby, you give me.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for that clap, Sister Tony. All right. Give thanks to everyone. Again, let's reach out. Mama Ngina, I know that you are no longer the circle leader, but I think we need to do something. We need to reach out to Sugar D and get something to her, you know, to from Wose to let's talk about it offline.
Okay, I'll call you tomorrow.
All right, and so we need to send her.
Yeah, I still have yeah.
All right.
Accents. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Right. Anybody want to close us out with a prayer?
I will.
Go ahead, Minister. Thank you.
Most High, we come here today giving you thanks and praises for being who you are, giving you thanks and praises for the beauty within our lives as well as the challenges. Please help us in our relationship and guide our minds so that we might be able to understand these things that have been presented today, so that we might be able to fully engulf them within our lives, fully be able to manifest them within our lives, and the knowledge, be able to walk with the knowledge that we have received.
Yes.
Most High, please open our minds and open our hearts to what you want to give to us each day. Thank you ever so much for us being able to rise and shine like Ra this day. I just want to pray for those people who are hurting at this moment. I want to pray for those people who have lost their homes during flooding. I want to pray for those people who have lost their loved ones. And I want to pray for those people who are just in their minds, they're just not right. We want to thank you for us being on this path, and thank you for us being together for such a time as this. Amen and Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time. So those of you that are meeting with us, Sacramento, we're meeting tomorrow as elders and community at 6 o'clock on this Zoom channel to discuss some business. All right, give thanks. Glad to see everyone that's here. And
All right, y'all live up.
see you next time. Live up.
And the next session is February 2nd, Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you. February 2nd, next time. Yes.